In Italy, you have a very, very deep culture about food, culture about artisans. You can easily lose yourself into nostalgia. And with nostalgia, you don't evolve, especially with a country with such a deep tradition. I'm breaking my past to rebuild it through a contemporary mind. It's exactly what we do every day in Osteria. I am Massimo Bottura. I'm the chef at Osteria Francescana in Modena. Osteria Francescana is a laboratory of ideas, inspired by culture, because culture brings knowledge. Knowledge opens the consciousness. Creativity is poetry. Creating a recipe is an intellectual gesture that involves ingredients, technique, memory. You compress everything in bites of edible culture that have the flavor of your passions. For me, it's music, food, art. Art is not what you see, it's the meaning, it's the metaphor. It's the highest point of the human thought. So art became our motivational force behind every dish. When I speak about Emilia-Romagna, I thinking about slow passages of time in the aging process. The secret of the food valley, is Parmigiano Reggiano. I was thinking to create in abstract and express an edible idea. 5 different age Parmigiano Reggiano in 5 different texture and temperature. It's not made to show how good with technique we are, but it's more about painting in abstract these slow passages of time in the aging process. It's an abstract painting with no color. A contemporary Italian chef needs to live in the moment, to explore and go in deep, without forgetting the past and where it comes from. So I'm traveling all over the world with my palate, but at the end, I'm from Modena. In the land of slow food and fast cars, I'm in the food valley. Beautiful women, mountain of grated cheese, that's the secret of life.
Lassen Sie sich nicht täuschen, er mag auch Maseratis. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, Massimo Bottura.
Hi guys. I'm always surprised when I come in Switzerland and I see so many people, always on time. And I like, if you would be in Italy, there would be 30 of you coming, running. Oh, sorry, where's my place? Oh, yeah, But this is really good to see that. So I prepared something, I wrote something not to get lost into my crazy idea all the time, and try to explain to you exactly where we come from. And we prepare 3 different plates, inspired by 2 of them, by everything I'm saying, And the last one is going to be an evolution of how we worked at the refectorio since day one. Refectorio, you all know about that, so I don't have to explain. And it's going to be about breadcrumbs and leftover and stuff like that. So just to understand why we need the creativity, the time, and the vision and knowledge of the chef to create a movement like that is a cultural project and not a charity project. Actually, in the back, it has to be, I lost it. Here. Let's see if it works. No, this is from Naples. Other side? What? Here. Okay, you come and do it. You do it. So, I'm an Italian chef, and I grew up. Sorry. And allora back. And I grew up under the table of my kitchen, escaping my older brothers, at my grandmother Ancella sneeze. In the meantime, she was rolling pasta, and the flour fell on my feet, on my nose. But in the meantime, I was stealing the tortellini. In the meantime, we were making them. And, this is the moment, a key moment, in which I understood that kitchen was my safety place in the world. And kitchen is where my appetite begins, And at Osteria Francescana, we still look at the world from under the table, with the eye of a child that look at the world from a different perspective, And from a critical point of view, not a nostalgic one, because if we take our memory out of the past and bring him to the future, it's the way you can rebuild tradition and make tradition contemporary. Culture has become our genuine motivational force, behind the evolution of our kitchen. We don't have incredible, landscape or we don't even see the big tower from our narrow street. But, we read. We read a lot. And we look and we travel with our eyes and ears open to absorb culture and knowledge from everything we see. Culture breeds awareness. Awareness leads to knowledge. And with knowledge comes the sense of responsibility. Everything we think, see, and learn gets squeezed into our cuisine. Food is not just the quality of technique or the ingredients, it's the quality of the ideas. And, it takes consciousness, vision, intuition to create a recipe. It takes faith. You are challenging yourself. Each time is like the first one, over and over and over and over again. You're going to see from the 3 recipes, I'm going to explain everything. Consciousness is the means. It's your toolbox. Everything you have learned and everything you are. Understand what you have done and how you have done it. Analyze your experience and studies. Know your talents and recognize your habits. If you don't know yourself and you're not humble enough to understand what you can do and not some crazy things, at the end, the results is nothing. Understand that we have 40 people in the kitchen. We can do crazy things. We can experiment all the time. But if you are like 5, 6, 10, you cannot do the same thing. So you have to be humble enough to understand that. Vision is the crossroad between the rational and the emotional. Developing a recipe is an intellectual activity, but not only. The emotional meets the logical. Passion rides rationality. Passion is inside you. You know, passion, you can play with passion. You can develop passion. You know, once you have, and I see a lot of young guys here, you know, once you have, you know, some interest, just go deep into your interest. Don't stop at Google. You know, I'm looking at the generation, they know nothing about everything, you know, because, you know, they just Google and they already done. It's not like that, you know. You have to understand different point of views. You have to go here, there, everywhere, and you know, and then you understand, you realize what you want to do, what is your interest, because one day your interest, they're going to become passion, and through passion you can transfer emotion, because this is our purpose in Osteria Francescana. Do you think people are traveling from all over the world, you know, to come and eat in Osteria Francescana just to eat good food? Of course not. You can eat good food in a trattoria on the other side of our street, you know. That's amazing dinner. But, you know, you eat my brain, you eat our vision, you eat emotions. The crunchy part of the lasagna is that, is you eat emotion. The experience of a kid, you know, stealing the crunchy part of the lasagna when the grandmother Ancella was bringing the big pan of the lasagna in the middle of the table, and me and my brother, we were fighting over the crunchy part. That's what you're gonna eat on Osteria Francescana. Intuition. Intuition is when you fall, and suddenly, from under the table or from the dark side of a corner, you know, you see the world from another point of view. It's the unexpected moment. Think about, oops, I dropped the lemon tart. You turn a corner and you discover something, you know, something new, you know? And it's neither consciousness nor vision, but it's the flash in the dark. Because when, you know, you fall, if you don't get lost into the everyday life of chopping, saute, serving, you are there with your mind, with your vision, with your eyes, with your intuition. That's where you are. It's neither, you know, intuition means catching that flash in the dark and put it to work. That's intuition. So, consciousness, vision, intuition. This is Ai Weiwei. It's like when I said and I talk about, you know, art is our motivational force. You know, that's what it is. You know, I ask myself, what is he doing? You know, he's breaking a 2,000 years old vase. He has it, and he let him drop because he wants to drop a 2,000 years old vase. To do what? To explain to you, to me, and to everybody that to build tradition, to build the future, you have to break tradition and rebuild into contemporary mind. Because the world is changing. It's not like the world of 2,000 years ago. Even food is like that. You cannot cook like my grandmother. You know, you have to cook like a contemporary chef and show the world and make visible the invisible. You know, so Ai Weiwei is dropping the vase and he's saying, I'm not defeating my past. My past is there, but I'm looking in front. What interests me is the future, it's not the past. The past is already with me, you know, so it's like, it's something that is already with me. And, you know, I have to build the future, and to build the future, I have to think about, you know, how to look at my tradition in a critical point of view, not in a nostalgic one. Here we go. You know, this is this is a Saragina, but don't worry about that. We use a sole. You know, you have al cartoccio, you have grill, you have undersold. And we were trying to rebuild an idea of papillote, you know. On the other side, because there was we were looking for transforming seawater into edible paper, you know, and we had this. This is seawater. And we were thinking of serving that, you know, a sole, because la sogliola al cartoccio is something that I always loved it, you know. And what I did, you know, we were trying to understand and doing as much thinner as we can to find the right proportion, because proportion is one of the major and more important thing in your plates. So I was thinking, you know, at the end, the flavor are amazing, everything is good, but the proportion is not right, because there's too much paper to do that. And the paper is sapidity, you know, because it's seawater. So when you dehydrate the seawater, you know, you have too much sapidity in your palate. So what we did, you know, what we did, you know, I said, listen, why don't we get inspiration by this guy? This guy is Alberto Burri. He's an artist from 1950. Is the period in which in Italy there was Burri and Fontana. Fontana was cutting the canvas. And if you watch my video about all the tongue of the word, you know who is Fontana. The other guy is Burri, that was burning the canvas. One was cutting the canvas, the second was burning the canvas. I said, why don't we do as Burri was doing, you know, burning the paper and give also the perception of the grill. Not just the papillote, not just the sole undersold, but also the grill. And we try, and you know, this is the seawater burned as Burri canvas, you know? At that point, you know, you need the most amazing flavor that reminds you Mediterranean, no? You need the best tomatoes, the best black olives, the best lemon, and the best capers, because that's the papillote. So, this is the relation with our artisans. Giovanni, I called them in 1 second, and you know, they are sending me like the tomato pienolo, the tomato that they hang, grown on Vesuvio, and you know, with a volcanic earth. So the tomato is so intense and amazing, and at their best in August, they're hanging in a room full of smoke. So when they're ready, like after 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, you know, they keep it there, and you know, they concentrate in a smoky room to give you the perception of eating a tomato and immediately feel that's pizza that is come from the oven. You know, that's the point. You know, when you look for the best of the best of the best, you know, you discover something new that is going to open your range of flavor. The best olives from Gaeta You see here, the come here. Put the camera here. Okay, it's okay. So the best olives from Gaeta, like the classic black olives, you put there, and with a little bit of acidity. So if you have the acidity into the black olives, you don't need the acidity in the lemon. So you choose the lemon from Sorrento. When you have a lemon from Sorrento, you taste a lemon from Sorrento. You say, but what did I taste till now? Like crappy lemon, because you drink the lemon like this, the lemon juice like that. It's unbelievable. And on the other side, you need the capers. And so I called Gabrio Bini. And Gabrio was sending me, he's a guy who make Serragia and Moscato, and it's such an incredible guy. He's a utopistic guy, he's an architect. And he believes in the wind in Pantelleria, that with the sea in these isles, the wind brings the salt to the caper fields, and you don't need salt to storage the capers. So they're unbelievable. When you eat these capers, you say, oh my God. So that's the point. The point is like, when I say it's not just the quality of the ingredients, but it's about the quality of the ingredients. Because I am a chef, I'm not an artist. There's a very simple thing, very simple line between a chef and an artist. A chef has to cook good food. An artist is free to do whatever he wants. Because who cares about if it's ugly, if the things. The art is splashing you his idea like this. A chef, you have to sit and think. If you have to build a Ferrari, you need an engineer that is delivering the fastest car possible. A chef is the same thing. He's an artisan and not an artist. But there is a difference between an artisan and a Latin word called artiere. The Latins, they were focusing on artisan, obsess about the quality, and they call it artiere. It's artisans, but obsess about quality. So it's like an engineer who builds Ferrari. We are that kind of things. Then you have the sole that is cooked sous vide, low temperature, to protect the quality, to keep the texture in your palate. And this creamy sauce is not cream. It's an emulsified extra virgin olive oil and salt water, And we give that kind of texture with few drops of lemon juice to remind la mugnaia, sogliola la mugnaia. At that point, we need the aesthetic part. And the aesthetic part is the things that from Al Cartoccio, like Papillot, arrives to Alberto Burri and his burned canvas. So, vai, mettila pure. So you finish everything. We didn't use any salt because the salt is in the paper. And we finish everything like that, with this kind of, combustion. And, this is called Mediterranean combustion. And this is the first plate. Did you follow my ideas? It's easy, no? Okay, so step on the other side. This is a little bit more complicated, the next one. All right, so. Okay, so. One of the most difficult things in contemporary gastronomy is the mark, is to identify a plate from a chef, because everyone is copying the others, you know, so it's like, fuck, it's all the same thing, you know. That's why I say, and I'm talking with the Italian chef, so I'm not involving you guys. So that's why I say to the Italians, come on guys, let's stop copying the others. Just express yourself. We have 2,000 years of tradition. You know, possibly that, you know, you cannot think about what you have. You know, we have so much culture, so much flavor, so much food, artisan, terroir, you know, it's unbelievable. So try to think about yourself and what you have. This was a dish that I presented in Lo Mejor de la Gastronomía 10 years ago, maybe more. And when I say is a compression of my cuisine is a compression of my passion into edible bites, this is Teolius Monk. It's a keyboard of a piano, you know? You see, there's a piano and the things, all black. You know, that's Monk. Why? Because Monk is one of my favorite artists. Because he was struggling so much. Because no one was understanding what Monk was doing. And no, you know, I have so many things to say that, you know, it's too much, you know, it's too complicated. You know, because on one side I think about Bob Dylan and when he writes, you know, the time they are changing, you know, and he's saying, stop judging, you know, a critic, you know, you don't understand what I'm talking about. You know, stop and dropping your pen. And, you know, it's exactly what Monk was struggling, because all these jazz critics, you know, in the moment in which Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, after the 40, you know, they were like breaking all the rules of the jazz and evolving jazz into totally different, you know, perspective. And Monk was a guy who was looking is an Afro-American, you know, and he was looking to the future, and but thinking about his past. So it's the dissonance. He was playing piano in a very strange way. But now everyone played like him, but you know, at that time was like, oh my God, I don't want to play with this guy. He doesn't know how to play. You know, that's the point. You know, it's like when my daughter went to and you know, she has tests at the high school. You know, she was studying classic with Greek, Latin, but also music. And she brought Bob Dylan at the you know, high school, you know, classic high school as a poet, you know. And you know, the teacher, they look at her and they said, he doesn't even know how to sing. You know, they said, fuck are you saying? You know, it's like, it's the idea, it's the poet, it's the poetry. You know, it's like, this is the point. You know, Monk was opening, you know, doors. The doors are, when you open a door, keep always the door open. Open to the unexpected. If you keep the door open to the unexpected, if you drop a lemon tart, maybe it's going to become something incredible, known from all over the world, you know, all over the world. So that's the point. So back to Monk. You know, I'm sorry. You know, that's my passion, you know. When I talk about art and music, it's like, woo. All right. Okay, Monk. So I was just trying to express Monk, getting the idea from Monk and what he was doing, and putting into edible bites. So the deepness of the crust that was like sea urchin, seaweed, all dehydrated, and you know, ink powdered from the squid, and you know, the broth was shiny, the crust was opaque, and the key piano was there. Was just, you know, the idea of trying to go deep and look for the roots and things. And, you know, the second one was this. And you say, what the hell is that? You know, that's one of my favorite artists. Even him is from Harlem. It's called Glenn Ligon. And, the whole idea of the refettorio comes from this guy. This guy is writing poetry, and is writing poetry that you cannot read because he's painting on the top of his poetry. Okay? So you cannot read the poetry. Why? Is anyone knows or can explain why? Okay, I'm explaining. So, because to look at things, okay, let's imagine. You walk into a museum, you look at that painting, and you say, interesting, and you walk away. But you can go there, go on the side where the light goes like that in the angle, and you can read everything. If you want to do it, you can do it. Just if you want to do it, because you are interested. It's, that's why we did the refettorio, not in the Universal Exposition, but in the most neglected neighborhood in Milan. Because if we would have done in a Universal Exposition, the 11, 13 million people they pass through the Universal Exposition, they would pass like this. Oh, there's also this soup kitchen for poor people, but no one is coming, blah, blah, blah. Exactly like that. But have it done in the most neglected neighborhood in Milan, Quartiere Greco, on the side of the refugees' place. On the other side, there was like this, okay, that's it. And, it's the moment in which if you want to come and volunteer, you can see and touch what we were doing there. And exactly as we did in Rio de Janeiro. We didn't do in the Olympic Village. We did in Lapa. Of course, we had guns in our head. They steal everything because it's the most dangerous neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro. But, that's the point. The point is, break the borders, go on. In the moment in which everyone is building walls, even, we are breaking walls. And we do what we know better to do, hospitality. Welcome, welcome. Our word is what we are doing is restaurant, ristorante. Comes from the word ristorare, means Latin word, reficere. Reficere means to restore. Restore the soul of the people that are traveling from all over the world. Saturday night, 2 people, they were like in bad, in bad really shape because they had to wait 2 hours for on the train, and they arrive at 10 o'clock in the evening. They had a reservation at 8. What are we supposed to do? We have to restore their mind. We set them, not in their tables, in the kitchen. And we let them part of the old scene, that we were like in theater and we were taking care of themselves because they need to slow down and restore their mind. That's what the purpose of our job, to restore the mind. So Glenn Ligon is doing that, and that's one of my... So from monk to Ligon, what is the idea? That is becoming a monochrome, and compared to monk and the key piano. So we changed everything. We discuss about, how to call it, how to define, and we were... you can see there? You can see from, you can read it? Burnt. You read it? Okay. So burnt means bruciato. And, sometimes one of the most, one of the things that we do as usual in the restaurant, we provocate. We want to be ironic, And this is an omaggio to La Riviera Romagnola. You go to Rimini, Riccione, you don't find a good restaurant, Everything is grill, everything is like, why is like that? Oh, because people love grill, and it's easy to make. It's easy to make. And you grill everything. And most of the time everything is burned. And you arrive like on the plate, you have that fish, that doesn't taste anything. So they serve on the side some lemon that you spray, you squeeze on the top of this fish and you just taste burn and acidity, And, oh, good, this is grill. This is fucking shit, And, and this is the point. So, in here, that we want to serve, here. What we have burn lemon. So instead of serving the lemon like that, we burn it in the oven. We create this, lemon powder. You get the lemon, you put it into the oven, you caramelize under 80 degrees, and then you let him dry for 4 days, and you grated the lemon into some fresh anchovies, and you create you do it, Bernardo. So come on. Then we have seaweed, because Adriatic Sea is always full of seaweeds. So we put seaweeds inside. And then you have, but there's always, because it's a very salty sea, it's like a lake, And, there are squid and calamari, serve as, create as like kind of a ceviche, like a crudo, like a battuta, like whatever you want to call it. To me, it's fine. And, you finish everything with that lemon and sardines, and you close it like this. Go, Danny. Anthony. Perfect. So we don't have, any. Stai facendo il brodo? Perfetto. Okay, go. So this is all raw. There's nothing cooked, but looks like burn, like I'm saying to you that it's burn, like Langen, no? But the point is that, the point of serving a monochrome, it's all about you, it's not about me. It's about you, that you are sitting at the table and you have your own palate, and you can eat and imagine whatever you want, but the point is it's about that. And on the other side, we have grilled stuff. Exactly the same calamari, squid, sarragin, sardine. What we do, we grill them, and again and again. And when they're right, we create a dashi, like a broth that, infused with acidity, fresh herbs, and, to get into your palate and to taste, the real flavor of grill and almost burned fish, but with such an alive and intensity that is the broth, the dish. The things is just the crunchiness, but the broth is the dish. So you have all this perception, this playing in your palate between this and that and that, and you don't realize what is the burn stuff, what is the raw stuff. It's just our expression. It's just Grand Ligon. If you want to know, you do it. So what we arrive, we're going at the table, we serve this monochrome, at the thing, and then we serve the broth as it is, and you have exactly the same perception of monk. So the evolution of monk without the keynote, the key piano, the white things, because we compress into a surface that is all burned. And, you have the experience of eating the real shit from Emilia-Romagna coast, this is the second course. So, this is the third course. And this is, to me, is the most important book of the last at least 30 years. These are the people that are part of this book. You know, Daniel Am, me, you know, René, Narizawa, Cherea, Aleno, Acurio, Ducasse, you know, all these guys, Carlo Cracco, Caminada. You know, I want to tell you about Andreas Caminada. You know, I said, Andrea, come. So he arrived in the morning with all his brigade. You know, I want to show my brigade what is your project. So he came with all the brigade. He arrived, he walked into the kitchen, he opened the refrigerator, he started cooking, blah, blah, blah. Surprise. We already broke, you know, the barrier of diffidence, you know, with all these migrants, you know, people from Syria, Libya, you know, it's not easy, eh? After a couple of weeks, we were like, they became gastronomic critics. You know, they were like, yeah, chef, but this soup, is really a French chef this? Because I don't like it, you know. Said, when you going to serve some pasta? I said, okay, wait. I said, tomorrow we're going to serve pasta. But back to Andreas, you know, I was, so at the end of the service, every single one was moving through the kitchen. They were asking for a picture with the chef to have as a memory, you know, of the experience. And, you know, Andreas brought chocolate. He brought chocolate. And with his team, they were waiting for the people to leave the refectorio, and he was giving chocolate as a very humble and super sweet moment to getting longer the perception of having that kind of experience, you know, in a refectorio like that. Is exactly the same gesture that the Pope does when he washes the dishes of the poor people. It's like, it's such an humble and amazing, intense gesture that is one of the things that reminds me that I have in my heart and thinking about, you know, the refectory in Milan. The other one is Juan Maria Zach flirting with my grandmother. So that's another thing, you know. That's crazy things, but it's another thing. Okay, but the day after of Andreas, you know, these guys, they were like complaining because we didn't serve enough pasta. They eat one meal every day, you know, and so they need, you know, they need to eat a lot, you know. And, but one of the purpose for us is like serving, you know, serving. Serving was the key moment that changed everything. We prepare, I'm good with my voice, good. No, because I didn't feel very good, but Maria, she prepared some, you know, infusion with ginger, so I'm much better. So, what I was talking about? Okay. So, there was 1 week before the opening. 1 week before the opening, I was with Christina there, my right hand, and we were looking at the, you know, list of the volunteers. But there was like pages of volunteers. They want to be part of this event. You know, even the people, they were protesting outside the refectorio because they were thinking we were bringing poor people, dangerous people in the neighborhood of, you know, of Greco. You know, is the Yeah. So I said, Christina, we already prepared the whole line. We bought the whole line of service with, tray, bread, soups, pasta, dessert, and you were going like this. I said, no way we're going to do this. No way. We're going to serve people at the table as we do at the restaurant. Because they deserve that. Because, we fool the whole restaurant, the whole soup kitchen of art, of design, because it's amazing. The places are amazing, and, involving the best artists, the best, because in my idea, if you have to dream big, it's normal. You can't dream, to have, you have to dream too big and create the best pavilion or a soup kitchen better than Leonardo da Vinci 500 years ago. So I said, the people, they're looking at me as really nuts, And, but when I ask and I explain my project to the artists, like Mimo Palladino, Cucchi, Benvenuto, Nannucci, everyone, all the best, the architects, Polytechnic of Milan, Renzo Piano, the designer like Piero Lissoni, Fabio Novembre, Gaetano Pesce, everyone said, yes, we're going to do it for free. It's like unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's always culture, knowledge, consciousness, sense of responsibility. It's all about that. At that point, we said, okay, let's do the service. The volunteers, they have to come at 5 o'clock. We're going to prepare the tables, and we're going to teach how to serve. We did that. And that was the moment in which everything changed. Everything. Because that was the key point. Welcome people and serve them. To rebuild the dignity of the people. Everyone deserves to eat on an amazing table, amazing food, with amazing art, with a service. That is a service. So that's what really makes the difference between a normal soup kitchen and our soup kitchen. But this is the key point for me, is the key point of to explain why we need the chefs involved in this project. This is an ugly plate of spaghetti and pesto, Do you want to eat that stuff? To me, no. You see the things, it's like, that's tradition, but tradition of what? I have to look at tradition in a very nostalgic way to look at that plate. But in a critic way, every single person knows that the spaghetti, the pasta, the long pasta needs a velvety sauce. Because when you roll the pasta, the velvet stays there. And not like something like that doesn't, it's not pleasure in the palate. So, I promised the day before to serve pasta, and because I've seen some cases of basil, but I didn't realize that the chef before, for the day after, he was preparing something with basil. So I didn't have enough. People, comincia ad andare avanti. I didn't have enough enough basil. So we were cleaning all the basil, and we started basil. Then we realized that we didn't have enough. So that's why the mental palate is coming to you, and he starts telling you what to do at that point. What he's doing is like he's putting mint on inside, You clean, of course, the leaves. This is gonna stay, and put inside there the broth. As you do it, you clean from the thyme, and and this is like goes in the water, and you put, because there was also sage, but you feel if you put sage in a pesto like that, it's gonna get so bitter. There was rosemary, but you cannot mix rosemary with other, things like that. Maybe rosemary can be mixed with thyme, but not with basil, because it's going to ruin everything. But thyme, and a little bit of thyme, and mint, especially because it was July, sounds perfect to my mental palate, At that point, you start adding, the Parmigiano, that it's extremely important, and at one moment, we realized that there was no pine nuts for the pesto. No pine nuts? What are we going to do? The pine nuts is, the deepness. We're going to use this. Bread. We toast the bread. We made breadcrumbs, We made the breadcrumbs, toasted. And instead of using the pine nuts, we put breadcrumbs. We save money, because we didn't have any money. It doesn't make any sense to go and buy like 1 kilo of pine nuts for 60 euros in a moment like that. It's totally against everything. We use a different tool. Instead of you going at mortaio like this, we go on this. But with our experience, we had to keep that machine is breaking everything, but is also oxidating everything. So we add with ice. We add ice to keep the temperature cool, and stop the oxidation inside. And mixing ice with extra virgin olive oil, in a classic way. So like that, the pesto came out like this, This is the pesto. This is the pesto that came out. Look at how green and perfect it is. It's like, and it is velvety. Because today we have the fusilli. Vai pure. Today we have the fusilli, but you can make also spaghetti. Every single Italian one knows that, with hard, pasta dura, pasta secca, you need velvety sauce and not the meat sauce. I travel all over the world and I see spaghetti alla bolognese, and to me it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Spaghetti are from south of Italy, bolognese is from north of Italy. You cannot mix north and south. Come on. And it's like, that when you roll spaghetti, the bolognese sauce stays in the plate. And it doesn't exist. It exists, and evolution, a degeneration of Italian cuisine made by the people they're traveling, So at that point, this is our pesto. We call pesto. We can call herb sauce whatever you want, because on Instagram and Twitter, when I do that kind of stuff, there are always Italians that think, oh, that's not a pesto. Oh, my mom is going to say, my grandmother. Fuck you and your grandmother. Come. And with the same breadcrumbs, to give crunchiness, instead of doing like putting in a blender like that, we just put in the mortaio. Instead of putting the herbs, we put the breadcrumbs in the mortaio to make the breadcrumbs like this. Toasted with extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of anchovies, to give deepness, you feel, no? The anchovies, we melt in olive oil, then we put the bread, then we saute, and we fix the things, and, we finish everything with some breadcrumbs like this. And here we go, the new fusilli al pesto. That's the evolution of tradition. I have to say, in our refettorio in Osteria Francescana, and we are like 60 people eating every lunch and every dinner, everyone, these guys, he's like, he's taking care most of the time of following stagiaire, commis, to cook for the staff meal, and everyone is asking for that pesto, not with the pine nuts. You know why? Because it's much lighter, because it's so creamy, because when you eat it, you have it there, and it's much cheaper. That's a very important point. That's what it is. This book is called Bread is Gold, Extraordinary Meals with Just Ordinary Ingredients. Because bread is just an ordinary ingredient, especially if it's 3-4 days old. My daughter's or my Charlie's, special kid, favorite meal, it's breadcrumbs noodle. Breadcrumbs, Parmigiano, 1 egg, the filling of your hand, you mix together, you squeeze in a potato squeezer into a chicken broth. That's the Charlie's and Alexa favorites meal. So one of the most important thing for a chef, when you are inside your kitchen, it's like touching the ingredients. You have to touch the ingredients, to feel the ingredients. You have to ask yourself questions, but also to the ingredients, the question. And if you write the right question, you understand that, some breadcrumbs, a piece of bread that is just being baked is perfect just to go on the table. We bake the bread 4 times a day to have, for the guests to experience the bread just baked every during the whole lunch and dinner. But the leftover is going to be, you have to ask, how old, dear bread, how old are you? And maybe he's answering 1 day. What are you going to do? You slice it, you toast it, and you make bruschetta. And it's 2 days old. And maybe 2 days old, you can make panzanella. I was in a... I have so many things to say, It's like, I was invited by this, the most popular TV program in the United States, Jimmy Kimmel. And, he challenged me. He didn't say anything to me. And last second, he challenged me to go on stage, but before, to explore the staff room, the staff meal room of his ghostwriters. There are like 20 of them, just like this. One is like that, one is like this, and they don't care about food. They really don't care. They just eat because they have to eat, sometimes. And they work there like, and that room, to me, I see hell in that room. Tomato left close to the coffee place, some leftover from, pomegranate juice inside the refrigerator. Just one finger inside, or like avocado, all oxidated inside. And, it was like bagels everywhere, but just pieces. And I said, what the fuck is this? It's like unbelievable. It's unbelievable what I'm supposed to do. Then I start thinking about putting together things, giving order, and we made a panzanella with the bagels. I got all the bagels, I cut all the bagels, but I didn't have the right ingredients as the Tuscan does. So I did Mexican style, because there was a lot of cilantro, tomato everywhere. I went to get the tomato close to the coffee, the tomato there, the tomato in the refrigerator. I put together everything. I didn't have enough, so my mind was, I said to myself, what is this? I'm going to use that pomegranate to give flavor to the things. So I put together, they had some balsamic vinegar. Yeah, balsamic vinegar, It's okay. Some liquid that tastes in a very far way of... Don't talk about that. I don't want to start that kind of discussion, think about my daughter. She didn't even taste her vinegar that her grandmother gave to her when she was born, and she's 21 now because she has to wait till 25. So if you think about that, and they give me that bottle of balsamic vinegar, they say, it's okay. So I put together the vinegar with the pomegranate mixed together. I chop all the bagels. I toast the bagels. I add some avocado. There was a little bit of spring onion, and I mixed with cilantro, a lot of cilantro, and I did the panzanella Mexican style, finishing with that stuff. And the Mexican guy that is the guard that works for Jamie Kimmel, he went crazy and he finished the whole bowl of panzanella Mexican style, because he thought was like the most amazing flavor in the world. His flavor, that's why I say you have to travel. To travel with your eyes and your ears open. To understand, to get exposed to other culture, to understand what you can do with that was Milan, this is Bologna, this is Rio de Janeiro, look at that. Vic Muniz and The Last Supper, dedicate to my idea of doing something more important than Leonardo da Vinci. So what he did The Last Supper, 8 meters long, 8 meters, in chocolate. He did the whole painting in chocolate, then with a macro photograph, he shoot the picture, and he projected into an 8-meter canvas. It's unbelievable. That Vic Muniz. Or JR that he did up there, 50-meter installation of all the volunteers, all the faces of the volunteers, not the chef. The volunteers, because the volunteers are the real heroes of this project. We are just the one who make visible the invisible as the artist, as the artisan, as the designer. But the real heroes are there. Look at this. 2 of these ladies are trans-sex, 2 of them, after 3 days, they came to me and they said, "Chef, this is the most amazing place, we ever been. We could never imagine to being able to experience this kind of stuff. Isn't there a job for me?" It's like, wow, this is incredible. I said, "Do you know how to clean?" Because I'm obsessed about cleaning, imagine in Brazil. And they said, yes. So we hired them. We hired them, and they are still, after 2 years, they're still there. And they send me video on my WhatsApp saying, "Look, chef, how we keep your place." That's not my place. It's your place. It's like, and you have to keep it like that because that's the place that we built for you, and to help women out of poverty from the favelas in Rio de Janeiro. And those 2 ladies, they said to me, like, we are the happiest men. We don't have to sell our body in the street anymore. We have a good meal every day. I'm out of time, okay? But it's okay. You enjoy, so. And this is a social table. This is Modena, our place that is been the most difficult refectorio we ever did. Because this place, day one, the people they were walking in, they weren't refugees, they weren't, migrants, they were people from downtown. People that I know because in a visual way, since I was a kid. People, they went, they lost their job, or, they divorced, they split, they don't have enough money to eat. And they are like at the refectorio, and I know them. And it was very embarrassing for me. And it was very, very strong experience. And I had to step back because I didn't want to, be part of this, and I had to go back step by step, and day by day. And this is an old chapel that these amazing artists did, and as the miracle of San Gimignano, who saved Modena from the barbarians, the invasion from the barbarians. And this is London, another amazing space. You see, here there's no heart, because Ilse Crawford was so smart, and she said, this space is already heart. Look at the windows, they're amazing Gothic windows. She cleaned everything, she replaced all the glass. Now the light comes from both sides like this, and it's the most enchanting place in the world. And this is Paris. Can you imagine, a cook that comes from Osteria Francescana in Via Stella 22? What the fuck is there? And he can open a soup kitchen in the church of La Madeleine. The other day we were in Paris, Alex told me, I have to go, I have to cook there. Where is the address? Place de la Madeleine. Yeah, but numbers? No, Place de la Madeleine means in the church. I said, what? Yes, is in the church. These are the crypt of the church of La Madeleine in Paris. So they gave us the crypt. We went inside with the most amazing architect, J.R. Prune, and we rebuilt the whole crypt. You have to see the crypt before. Full of dust, darkness, and rats. We did that. Now it's like, and what J.R. did, he created clouds. Because in a church, in a crypt like that, you feel very narrow and compressed. But J.R. put clouds there. And, you can imagine to be outside, and with the beautiful light they did, we couldn't touch anything. So all that structure is created especially for this, because we couldn't touch the wall and attach the wall. So those are the lights that we imagine, and it's the most unbelievable place. And I don't know if because they are French, on whatever, or I don't know why, but since day one, the guests, they were so nice and so enthusiastic and so full, and they're so into cooking, coming into the kitchen, bringing their kids, an incredible experience. That is the moment in which really you understand that first, it's fight waste. Second, is transfer our knowledge to the volunteers and set the example for all the young generation. Third is to communicate, and that's why we need books and we need all the journalists in the world that are talking about this, to communicate this cultural project that is to change the mind of the people, not, just feed them. Because the charity part is for the volunteers and the people that are working there, and get the example for us. So, actually, this is the atmosphere that you breathe inside there, as you breathe in the kitchen of Osteria Francescana. I'm going to close with one thing. Many people ask me, how can you put together, put together a 3-star Michelin and on the other side cook for there? I answer, listen. Osteria Francescana is a laboratory of idea. Is where we create culture. Without Osteria Francescana, we never, ever, ever could have even imagined to do something like this, a project like this. We experience every day in our kitchen, in our staff meal, everything we're going to do at the refettorio. And when they said, this is a French journalist, cooking is business, I answered, in front of everyone. She was trying to provocate me. And I answered, what my grandmother taught me? That cooking is an act of love, not business. Thank you very much.
Venite in fronte. Prego.
Thank you. Thank you.
Grazie.
And always remember
State qui.
that, I am one person, okay, but in the team we are 60 people. And 2 of them are flying to Berna because tomorrow night we have a big dinner party. 2 of them are here in the day off. There's no day off for us. And, sorry, and it's very important because we were talking in the car before, me and Maria, do you know what Bob Dylan said when they asked him, what is the secret of his success? He answered, the secret of my success is waking up in the morning, going to bed in the night, and in the meantime, you do what you have chosen to do. You have chosen to be a chef, and it has to be your passion, because the hours are incredible, but if it's your passion, you don't feel it. When you listen to music, you don't, it's the first time I do in the morning, listen to music, but also make a perfect coffee that is pleasing me in my palate or be surrounded by art. If it's your passion, it's your passion. And this is the most amazing job in the world. And so that's the point. Don't complain because, it's the most amazing, job you can choose. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Massimo.
I need more ginger.
So today I've learned 2 things. The first things, come late to Massimo when you want to eat in the kitchen.
I'm sorry?
I've learned 2 things.
Because I was looking at her, she was trying to ask a question. I said,
yeah, sure.
Easy question, huh?
You want a question or afterwards?
I'm Colombian, and I was very curious to hear about the results of the refectorio, because you were talking about the refectorio in the favelas.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about the results in the community. You were talking about gangs.
That's one of the major thing, How
Go
long
on.
do I have?
Yes, always when you say I have one thing to say, it's 10 minutes, but it's no problem.
No problem. Okay, reset, 2 minutes. No more than 2 minutes.
No, go on, Massimo.
Now, I think I opened my speech in Paris. I have to use some Paris word, from French word, because the French, with an Italian, we have, something to say, our cousins. And, they said, Ducasse, when I had a meeting with all the 3-star Michelin in France, at one point I was so passionate, and, I was like, and we're going to change the world, and you're going to be part of this revolution, like that. And Ducasse stopped me in front of everyone, he said, I can't believe an Italian chef is putting together all our chefs. It's like, this is a revolution. I said, yes, it is, because I'm going to make you look good. And you don't have to think about always business and open another restaurant. Fuck you and your restaurants. You have to have one restaurant that is amazing. That's it. You transfer ideas. Beauty. I had to open with beauty. So the night before, I was very nervous. Then I read Camus. Camus was saying, with beauty, you don't do a revolution. But one day, the revolution will need beauty. It's exactly what we did in the Refectorio project. We need the architects, the artists, the artisan, and the chefs. Because even the chefs, with their preparation, with their knowledge, they create beauty in the plate, beauty in the palette, beauty in the tables, beauty in the things. And it's the key point to rebuild the dignity of the people. I didn't say before because it was not one of my purpose in the beginning. My purpose was fighting waste. And, transfer the knowledge to the people and communicate through books, television, blah, blah, blah. But beauty has been a key point on even the old neighborhood. Lapa now it's unbelievable. Milan, Quartiere Greco, it's like, it's amazing. The people want to go there. They open, the church open, because they own the Caritas Milan, they own the old building. They open for the week, the design week. They open to be visit to people this amazing place. It's like, you have to walk into the door made by Milano Palladino. You go inside, you see an amazing alfresco, beautiful painting, and a beautiful kitchen, you know. And that's what happened. Well, that's what happened. We brought light, but this is not my idea. This is a Pope Francis idea. Pope Francis, when in my idea, was like build miracle in Milan. And I was focusing on the train station of Milan. Actually, we already had an agreement with Moretti, like the big boss at the Trenitalia, no? To rebuild the refettorio as the one in Paris, no? It was like something like that, you know? But the Pope said, no, we don't want that project in downtown Milan. We want to bring lights to the periphery. So they look and they identified this crazy guy, Don Giuliano, that he was always in trouble with money. And, you know, he always have problem with money because he spend too much than compared to what he has. But he does such an amazing work, you know. And is exactly the point on build a place like that goes around, comes around. You know, you bring beauty, you bring light, everything is, you know, it's changing. And everything changed. All the restaurant, the stores, the bar, they all restore because there's a lot of people coming and take a look at the refettorio. And as in Lapa. In Lapa, they are restoring the old street of Lapa with this colonial building with all these different colors. Now, I want to buy one of those kind of crappy stuff to build a gelateria, no? To build the refettorio here, and on the other side of the street, a gelateria for the kids. But, you know, and after when I left, I was already in another world, you know. But in Thessalonica, we're going to do it. We're going to build a gelateria in the refugees camp of 3,000 people. Too many people. For us, the refettorio is a very small project. But the scouts are there to look for the right space in the middle of the old refugees camp for a gelateria, you know, in Greece with all the fruit and vegetables, amazing fruit and vegetables. We can really give smiles to the kids of the refugee camp. So it's our future.
Wie eingangs erwähnt, alles, was über ihn gesagt und geschrieben wird, wird ihm nicht gerecht, weil er toppt es regelmäßig mit seinen Aussagen und seinem Engagement. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, einer der ganz, ganz wenigen Momente, wo man nur sich verneigen kann und sagen kann, wir hoffen auf ein nächstes Mal. We hope for a next time. Massimo Bottura, thank you very much. And guys,